Traders at Axis Bank expect a more active T-bills market as unmet demand from this week's OMO auction filters into the secondary market. Meanwhile, investors are taking position ahead of Monday's 200 billion naira bond auction. Uzor Anakebe, team lead, FCY Balance Sheet Management at Axis Bank, joins me now for more market movements. Uzor, thanks a lot for joining us on the show today. It's been quite the busy week. 2 OMO auctions, 1 T-bills auction we had this week. Walk us through the movement you've seen to find the market.
Thank you very much for having me. So this week has been an interesting week for traders. The opening liquidity yesterday was at 690 billion naira. This was a decline by 320 billion the previous day's levels, and we could attribute this to the settlements that we had this week. You remember that on Wednesday, the DMO floated an NTB auction where $230 million were on offer. However, the subscription was over 300 billion naira, and what we saw in that auction was that the DMO oversold on the long end of the maturity and at the stop rate of 17.44%, which is significantly an improvement from the previous levels that the NTB closed. So this indicates there is also improved yield for investors. And then on Thursday yesterday, we saw the CBN coming to auction. We had 600 billion offered on the 2 tenors that were listed on the offer. However, the subscription was over 1 trillion naira. We continue to show investors' appetite both for foreign portfolio investors and banks to continue to seek high-yielding investment for their portfolios. So the OMO auction closed at 25.66% on the long end, and it was significantly oversold, where by over 800 billion naira was sold in the auction. So what we've continued to see is that most of the unmet demand in these auctions continue to filter into the secondary market, keeping an active secondary market. NTB yesterday was offered in the secondary market at 17.15% handle, and this is profit taking for the investors that won at the auction. And going today also, we've seen the unmet demand from the OMO auction yesterday filter into the market. However, we note that there will be some liquidity constraints, as these settlements would significantly impact market liquidity and prevent traders from actively playing as much as they want for these auctions.
So what's your expectation for Monday's bond auction, looking at the fact that this unmet demand at the secondary market, would also try and see how well do you think it will filter in?
Yes, so in the OMO auction, in the bond auction that is going to happen on Monday, we know that the DMO is offering on 2 maturities, the 2030, which is new, and then the 2032, which is a reopening of previous auction. We anticipate that these auctions will be largely oversubscribed, as their appetite to lock in funds for longer tenure, based on the fact that we've continued to see improvement in inflation rates, and this shows that the coming MPC meeting, there is likelihood of rate cuts by the central bank. So we anticipate that the rates on this auction would go up significantly. We are anticipating that it should be around 17.5 to 18% handle from previous auction, which we know closed at 15 handles. So we are anticipating that market participants are positioning themselves for this auction. We also know that market liquidity would improve by next week, as we anticipate that the FAC would start coming in for the month of August. So this would boost market liquidity and influence trading activities in both the fixed income market and the FX market.
Uzor, thanks a lot for your time on the show today. That was Uzor Anakebe, Treasury team member at Axis Bank.